Bill Simone. If you've read my books or watched my videos, you know I refer frequently to biomechanics. Now, I'm at best an amateur biomechanist, especially compared to those with advanced degrees who are working at very complex levels. I am not that. But in my very specific niche of weight training for health, I've used the biomechanics material to filter out much of the clutter that dominates the conversation around weight training. So in this playlist, I'm going to compare an aspect of exercise content with the relevant biomechanics and hopefully provide some clarity for your workout. Enjoy. When exercisers or trainers mention the rotator cuff, their concern has changed from cannonball delts to shoulder health, and they immediately look for specific exercises for each individual muscle of the rotator cuff. I have some personal experience with rotator cuff repair and rehab, and there are several things to do with your workout before you get to those exercises. On your screen, 5 steps to keep your shoulders healthy during your workouts. If your shoulder pain came on after a specific event, have it medically evaluated, just to make sure you're not on the verge of something catastrophic. Long story short, I had such an event. I did not have it medically evaluated at first, and when I finally did, it turned out I was on the verge of lasting damage. So major surgery, rehab, and a few years later, things are back to where they were almost. But at the time of the initial injury, I did not know lasting damage was a possibility. So don't do that. Have it checked professionally so at least you know where you are. So assuming there's nothing seriously wrong, step 2 is to review your current exercises to make sure they're not straining your shoulders. These 5 are classic conventional exercises taken from some older weight training instruction books: the behind the neck pull downs, chin ups and presses, the upright row, and the pullover. If you do these and your shoulders hurt, stop. More specifically, stop loading your joints in these positions, whether it's with a barbell, elastic, kettlebells, or machines. From a biomechanics perspective, these are clearly vulnerable joint positions, which you may get away with as a young exerciser, but will lead to problems as you mature.
These are the biomechanic concerns with the preceding exercises. The way to move the arm overhead with the least stress on the shoulder joint is through the scapular plane, which is 30 degrees forward of where behind the neck exercises put you. The upright row puts your shoulder directly in position for impingement, shown in the middle diagram. In the pullover exercise, the pecs and lats are not positioned to help, so the posterior ligaments shown here strain to hold the shoulder together in the bottom position. The second thing to look for is what is described in sports medicine as the humerus migrating upwards, which is when your upper arm and shoulder are pulling up towards your head. So pitching a baseball or an overhead serve in tennis or volleyball, or something where your arm and shoulder move upwards with force, creates impingement. In weight exercises, especially chin-ups, pull-downs, pullovers, and lat exercises, letting the weight pull your arms and shoulders vertically creates the same impingement. Again, if your shoulders hurt and you're doing this, stop and cut the rep a bit short as in the pictures on the screen.
On chest exercises like flies, chest presses, or dips, don't let the weight force your elbows back behind the plane of your torso. This would set you up for anterior instability of the shoulder ligaments with no extra benefit to the pectorals or triceps for the extra strain. Generally, if you keep your hands in your peripheral vision, this gives you a visual marker with some margin of error.
During chest exercises, if the weights push your shoulders too far back, you can put the connective tissue at risk and develop chronic shoulder strain. To protect your shoulders from this, make sure to stop right before your elbows dip below your torso.
If you use heavy shrugs to train your trapezius, this is the best you can hope for. This is the only use for an overdeveloped upper trapezius, the most muscular pose as shown here by Arnold Schwarzenegger in his heyday. Those big lumps between Arnold's head and his shoulders are the upper trapezius. Now, the trapezius has important roles in shoulder health, but this ain't it. And if you use heavy shrugs as a trapezius exercise, you're practicing moving your shoulders wrong, and you miss a more important role of the trapezius.
The most important role for the upper trapezius is in the scapulohumeral rhythm, where it coordinates with the serratus to raise the arms overhead. If you overdevelop the upper traps or encourage it to take over the movement by repetitively practicing shrugs, it throws the coordination off and leads to impingement. The lower and middle traps stabilize the scapula, which allows them to act as an anchor for the rotator cuff. If both the arm and shoulder blade move, the rotator cuff can't stabilize as effectively, leading to extra strain. The role of the rotator cuff is to stabilize the humerus in the shoulder joint as the big muscles pull on the humerus.
The next videos show appropriate training for your trapezius and rotator cuff before you search for direct exercises for the individual rotator cuff muscles. All right, so let me show you first. So lean back, all right, and don't just bend your elbows in here. You want to pull with your shoulders first, and then the elbows, and then let the elbows out, and then you can let it out. So this position doesn't create the impingement. When you go overhead, that creates an impingement, but doesn't create an impingement in this direction. In this direction, your trapezius is just retracting your shoulder blades. So again, not here, but the shoulders come back, and then the elbows bend. Your turn. So lean back. Okay, and then let your shoulders out. And now pull with your shoulders, and then squeeze it. Right, and make sure you squeeze back here. And if you feel like you're losing this sensation, then try again. And if you can't pull back here, then it sets over. But this is the point of the exercise. When you're anchored and the weight stack moves up smoothly about 2 feet, and this is what happens when you're not anchored, and you try to do the same thing, the weight stack doesn't travel as well. Your turn. So do it with your feet anchored first. Okay. And now just pick up your feet. Okay. See how it goes. Okay. So the weight stack still moves, but it's just not as clean as when your feet are anchored.
Yeah.
First, bring your elbows back and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And now you're going to move your arms forward as you separate your shoulder blades. So there's the bottom of your shoulder blades. Go forward, right? Now come back, squeeze them together. That's it. So that's the movement you want. So this is the Y that trains the serratus. Okay. And now you're going to do the T. So now arms in front of you. Okay. Let your shoulder blades come apart. And then bring your arms up to the sides as you squeeze your shoulder blades right up in here. Right. Try to focus on squeezing right there. Squeeze. That's it. So this is the T for the middle trap. And then this is going to be the W for the lower trapezius. So now your elbows are in front, slouch your shoulders forward. And now as you pull your elbows back, squeeze your shoulder blades. That's it, like that. Right. Okay, so this is what I would consider. This is typical, but I would consider this bad form. So block knees, slouched spine, and then lifting with a heave. And then this would be bad form in the side raise. So leaning forward, heaving the weights up. And this would be bad form in the front raise, where you're kind of swinging the weights up and using your back. And here's the form I would use to train the rotator cuff as a priority. So bent knees, curve in the back, pin the scapula back, and then come up and pause. And then for the side raise, keep still with the straight posture, but leaning forward. Again, pause. With the shoulder blades kind of pinned. And then for the front, thumbs up, and you lift in the scapula plane. Again, holding your shoulder blades tight. My suggestion is to master the preceding material first. Eliminate the behind the neck exercises and upright rows. Don't let the weights push your shoulders into a stretch. De-emphasize shrugs and emphasize retraction in rows. Do the YTW exercises and dumbbell raises in strict form. Otherwise, your workout will just continually aggravate your shoulders. For a more complete discussion of exercise biomechanics and shoulders, see the chapter Basic Biomechanics for Better Workouts and Joint-Friendly Fitness. On screen is our bibliography for what you just watched. Top left, here's Power for You from the 1950s, Modern Weight Training from the 60s, Muscle Builder Magazine from the 70s, and Secrets of Advanced Bodybuilders from the 80s for the conventional weight training instruction. Bottom left, the anatomy and biomechanics images come from these 4 textbooks. And my attempts to combine the two on the right, Joint-Friendly Fitness, the complete edition in print, and the shoulder and arm chapters on Kindle. Keep going. Are you starting to feel it back there?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to hold it there. Hold it. Try to resist. Go ahead. Keep fighting it. Keep fighting it. Let it out a little bit. Let it out a little bit. Just a little bit. A little more. A little more. Hold the way down.